The EV3 was the first in a new generation of small electric Kias. If you think that the futuristic looks suggest a step forward from the technology the brand was previously offering with the Niro EV in this segment, you won't be disappointed. Compact EVs have moved on significantly, and if you doubt that, then you need to try this car.
The electric motor in use here will be the same regardless of the flavour of EV3 you happen to choose, producing 201 bhp with 283 Nm of torque. But customers do get a choice of batteries for it to be linked to. The standard range version gets a 58.3 kWh unit, giving a range of 270 miles. The vast majority of UK EV3 customers, though, are going to want the long-range version that we're trying here, which has a bigger 81.4 kWh battery that will take you up to 375 miles between charges in this base Air spec form, or 367 miles with plusher GT line trim. Either way, that's substantially further than most rivals can go, and way further than the smaller 64.8 kWh battery of Kia's other model in this segment, the Niro EV, can manage. That car's limited to just 285 miles. Few EV3 models will be sold with a heat pump though, so you might struggle to replicate its headline figures in the depths of winter. You won't be expecting a car of this kind to be engaging to drive, or at least you shouldn't be anyway. We were impressed though by the relative sharpness of its similarly platformed mid-sized EV6 showroom stablemate, but this EV3 is a rather different confection, not only because its drive comes from a different end. A near 1.9 tonne curb weight is a lot for a car of this diminutive size, around 120 kilograms heavier than a Niro EV, which doubtless contributes to the car's disinclination to corner with much enthusiasm. But the syrupy steering feel won't encourage you to do that anyway. But the EV3 compensates with more important attributes. Body rolls well controlled, helped by all that low down weight, while cornering grip is tenacious and ride quality is excellent, even with bigger rims than the 17-inch ones we're trying here. We're also impressed by the levels of refinement. Not all EVs are as silent as they should be, but you should find this one to be satisfyingly quiet. Or at least you'll find it is until you start to be irritated by the constant binging and bonging of its drive assist systems, the speed limit element of which is fiddly to completely disable. Once you figure out how to live with all these features though, you'll find this a relaxing, journeying companion, whether the need is to commute or to cruise. Ultimate performance doesn't much matter in a car like this. A linear level of drivability is more important, or to put it another way, you don't want to be hurled back in your seat by the torque of the electric motor every time you brush your foot against the throttle. In an EV3, you won't be. For day-to-day driving, you don't really need anything other than the most frugal of the various provided drive modes, Eco. But if you do select the most urgent, Sport, the 62-mile-an-hour sprint takes between 7.4 seconds and 7.7 seconds, depending on variant. This heavier, bigger battery version is slightly slower, while top speed is 106 miles an hour. Kia doesn't hold back when it comes to visual impact these days, and the EV3 is certainly divisively styled, as we knew it would be from the concept car shown in 2023. But it's fresh and distinctive, and if you like it, then you'll probably really like it. Whatever EV3 you decide upon, the front-end look will divide opinion. The nose of this all-electric model does, of course, do without a grille. All the cooling's done via this vertically slatted lower intake. And you'll either think the look of it to be fresh and avant-garde, or something reminiscent of an urban mobility pod. The rear is almost equally unusual. This narrow tailgate screen sitting above a black trim panel linking narrow LED tail lamp strips that angle downwards into the corners of the car. And inside, well, Kia says it's tried to achieve a living space feel, though to appreciate that, your living space would have to be dominated by screens, as this one is. As with the EV9 we tried last year, there are 12.3-inch displays for instruments and infotainment, separated by a further 5.3-inch centre screen for the climate system. We can see why you might pay the extra for the slightly sportier looking two-tone GT line interior treatment with its attractive fabric-wrapped dashboard and softer touch plastics. The hard plastics and the more basic grey utilitarian vibe you get with this base air spec aren't particularly appealing. There's no conventional centre stack, part of a slightly quirky approach to design here, which works better in some areas than others. You'll spend ages hunting for the drive mode switch, which hangs off a steering wheel spoke, and possibly for the start button located on the gear selector stalk hidden behind the steering wheel. But these silver strap panels on the doors look trendy. This lower centre console stowage area is supremely practical, and the hidden buttons for screen functions just above the horizontal vents are lovely, but difficult to hit without taking your eyes off the road. What else? Well, you sit higher than in most rivals, but on heated front seats that have to do without lumbar support on this base spec Air model. As we've already referenced, this is a very practical space. That lower centre console space we mentioned could easily take something as big as a handbag, and we prefer the simpler upper console storage arrangement of this Air model with its lidded and open stowage areas, separated by this compartmentalising slat. Okay, time to take a look in the rear. Here's where the bespoke eGMP platform of this car ought to help it hugely. And sure enough, once inside, there's more room for knees and legs than you'd get in a combustion model of this size, or in an electric hatch with a combustion compromised platform like Kia's Niro EV. It's a pity the seat base doesn't slide, as it does in a rival Smart #1, for instance, nor does the seat back recline despite a gap between the luggage cover and the seat backs, providing space for it to do so. Still, the flat floor means a middle-seated third occupant could be admitted reasonably comfortably, and there's plenty of space for outer passengers to slide their feet below the seats ahead. Let's finish with a look out back. Now, this tailgate isn't power assisted unless you stretch to the very top of the range, but it's light enough to make assistance unnecessary, and it rises to reveal a 460 litre space. Flatten the rear bench and up to 1,250 litres of capacity can be freed up. And that's not everything, because, as you'd expect from a car with a bespoke EV platform, there's further frunk room under the bonnet, though not much of it. Still, this 25-litre space should suffice as a home for the charging leads. The EV3 is based on much more sophisticated eGMP architecture than the brand's Niro EV. You might quite reasonably think that the whole point of that would be for this to be the first small electric vehicle to offer the ultra-fast charging 800-volt infrastructure that larger Hyundai Motor Group eGMP base models helped to pioneer. Disappointingly, that's not the case, but thanks to a new generation battery management system, both standard and long-range models claim a 10 to 80% DC charge time of around half an hour. That's despite rather modest charging speeds, 102 kilowatts for the 58.3 kilowatt hour battery and 128 kilowatts for this 81.4 kilowatt hour version. Full replenishment AC charging from a typical 7.4 kilowatt garage wall box needs 8 hours and 45 minutes for the 54.3 kilowatt hour version, or 12 hours and 30 minutes for this 81.4 kilowatt hour variant. You're never going to be able to create the ideal small electric hatch unless it's designed from the outset only as an EV. And it's taken Kia some time to get round to doing exactly that, but the EV3 was worth the wait. This feels like the kind of cutting-edge product the brand really needs in this segment, and you'll find it better value and longer ranging than most of its rivals. You need to know what you're getting, of course. We're disappointed that this shortened version of the company's advanced eGMP chassis used here can't accommodate the ultra-rapid 800-volt charging infrastructure you'll find on larger Kia EVs. And not everyone will like this EV3 model's divisively futuristic looks. But if you do, and you're browsing in this segment, we think this is a car you simply can't ignore.